We have people that run the show for us. So they'll book her sometimes. And it's just like, okay, well, at least I don't have to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I would cringe.
Yeah. It's showbiz, Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's showbiz. It's a showbiz thing, sure. It's the same reason that Val Kilmer, occasionally still works. Nobody guy. But damn it. I mean, he has some great stuff under his belt. Certainly a name. And but
it's not
they
called,
say he's kind of a dick.
It's not called show favors,
I like that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people who are kind of dicks, I mean, I understand you had some sort of with the Hell's Angels.
Well, so when I was in college, I had a friend who I was in student government, and we had a guy who was also in student government, and he was a Hell's Angel. He was an older guy who went back to school.
Oh, wow.
And he was he literally dressed with the headband, had the long hair, wore a leather jacket every day. When you saw him, you went, that guy's probably a Hell's Angel.
And then he turns around and you see the
definitely was
logo on the back.
And he even ran on that. I remember when he was running, he's like, by the way, this is how you.
Where did you go to school, by the way?
This is in Phoenix at Glendale Community College. Okay, and this was his campaign. I just remembered this. This was his campaign speech. He goes, a lot of people. Now remember, this guy's like a 50-something Vietnam vet. He goes, he goes, I am a biker. I'm a member of the Hells Angels. He goes, and a lot of people think that in the 70s we were out robbing and raping folks, but I can tell you, we weren't having that much fun. And it's like, wait, you ran on that?
He's got my vote.
That was like an early Trump right there.
At least he's honest, we can give him that.
Yeah, that's some honesty there. I promise you, we weren't having that much fun. So he invited me to a party, and I hung out with some Hells Angels. I was the only, I was just this, this 20-year-old college kid who felt very awkward among people who.
You're not exactly a barrel-chested guy.
I'm not a barrel-chested guy. I'm more of a, I think at that point in school, I had just, gotten out of high school where I wrestled at 128 with an 0-6 record. So I wasn't the toughest guy at the party.
What's underneath featherweight?
Is that bantam? I'm not even sure.
Maybe.
So I really had a good time at that party. It was cool. Then I'm working at Laughs Comedy Club in Tucson, and that's where I still love those guys years later. But this is like 15 years ago almost. Yeah, 15 years ago. I moved to L.A. and my first job, I had to get a survival job right off the bat. So I did balloon animals for kids. So I'd go to parties and do balloon animals because that was the highest paying thing you could do. It was $20 an hour 15 years ago.
Okay.
Cool. So I went. I remember that week at the club, I brought all my balloons. We were messing around with them. The staff goes, "Hey Troy, let's go to this biker bar." So we go. I bring the balloons, and it's karaoke night at this Hells Angels bar, and it's secretly a Hells Angels bar. It's just everyone knows it's called the Bashful Bandit, but everyone knows it's a biker bar. But here's what happened. I don't remember what my song was, but I remember finishing. I remember there was high energy in the room, and I finished the song by saying, "Hey, and free balloon animals for all the Hells Angels." Now, at that time, I did not know an important key element. Never talk about the Hells Angels out loud in public because they don't want people to know because they're a wanted, when you have
domestic terrorist organization.
Referencing it, and you don't want,
I never would have known that. Thank you.
Yeah, and certainly, I don't think anybody would have known that.
I'm actually going to write that down.
Well, kind of a stupid question here because that the logic is, you can't argue with it. But if you're trying to be incognito, why do they wear the colors? Why are they the jacket with the logo?
That's a presence, and they also feel a strength in numbers, right? And they're also on motorcycles, and there's the whole thing with that. But I think that it's when they have a hangout where some of them are known to be, if they're looking for a specific person,
right?
That person's not going to go out on the ride with that group. Maybe if they're wanted, if they're on some top 20 FBI list. But they might be hanging out in the bar. And so, what happened was this guy comes up to me and says, Big John wants to see you in the back. And I'm like, oh,
that's
okay.
Auspicious.
I was oh, okay. It's kind of weird, but maybe he liked my song.
Yeah.
Which I'm a terrible singer, so I'm kind of questioning that.
big Streisand fan.
Yeah, it's strange. I just come to town and people like my karaoke. This is. I guess I'm going to have some followers on Twitter from the Hells Angels.
Awesome.
So I go into this room. And it's like in the movies, you know, when like they're gonna like torture somebody, and there's like that one light that's hanging. It's got like a metal dish that's about 16 inches and an incandescent light bulb.
And a ball gag is there.
And there's 2 chairs. There's just 2 chairs on a cement floor. Like this was clearly like a kill room.
Was there any plastic on the floor?
No, that's what I was worried about. I was like
the champagne room in a Hells Angels bar.
Yeah, like at that point I had watched some Sopranos, so I was like, I looked down on the floor to see if there was any stains or plastic.
And you were hoping they weren't going to turn you into a soprano before you sang it.
Right, exactly. That could have. I was looking for power tools.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "Have a seat." And this is a big dude. Okay, this is a guy who's like 4 of me, and his head, the size of his head was like 5 of my heads. I don't even know how his mother could birth that.
Well, presumably he was much smaller at birth. By scale.
Even by scale, there's still no way. Even like if you saw it in
out sideways.
That came out sideways. She didn't scream or nothing. If you saw this head, you would say there's no that would have to be like not a C-section. They have to crack that.
Big John was his birth name.
The whole alphabet was sectioned off. Yeah,
right. So this guy has me sit down, and he goes. The first thing he says to me was, "We don't talk about who we are." And again, I'm still dumbfounded as to what he's talking about and why I'm there. I'm like, oh, maybe he brings new people in just to inform them, like a little PSA. So I go, oh, okay, cool. And he goes, "We don't talk about who we are." And I go, yeah. I go, so wait, now, what do you mean? Like, I just have to ask because I don't even know what to say. And he goes, you said Hell's Angels out there. And I go, oh, yeah. He goes, we don't talk about who we are. Oh, I didn't know. Like, it's just, I feel like I'm in some weird movie where I play like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
It's like the Arizona remake of Marathon Man.
Yeah, totally.
Is it safe?
So now I'm feeling really freaked out because now I know what this is about. He goes, we're not going to do anything this time. Oh, my God. You were going to do something? Like, that's what I'm saying in my head. I go, okay, well, thank you. Let me tell you, I had no idea about this. I go, I'm with the comedy club, and
always been more of a Schwinn guy myself,
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, yeah, I'm really more of a Schwinn person. Banana seat, basket. I said I really apologize. I said I really had no idea. I'm in town. I grew up in Phoenix, but I'm not from Tucson. I came in town, and I was doing this show. They brought me out here, and I had no idea. And I'm here, we're making balloon animals, and so I apologize. And so I don't know. He talked to me for a little bit, and he explained why. And he goes, all right, well, as long as it never happens again, you can go. And so I get up to go, and he goes, one more thing. And I turn around, and he goes, I want you to make a balloon hat for me.
Nice.
And I go, okay, right on. Now I felt okay. I felt like I'm not going to get shot or anything. Yeah. And he goes, I go, what do you want? He goes, I want you to make an 81. And I go, all right, I'll make you that. What does that mean? And he goes, well, don't tell. I don't know. He said, don't tell anybody this, but this is okay. People know this, and it's now Googleable. 81 is the secret code for Hell's Angels. He goes, H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, A is the first, 81. So I go, okay, well, we'll get 81 coming right up. And so I gave him I made his balloon hat, and then the other bikers wanted balloon hats as well. And so I made a lot of people 81s, and then they just started having sex with each other's balloons. Because there's a 1 going into the 8.
Oh, I see.
You mean the balloons they were making the balloons have sex with each other? They weren't literally
the balloons
having sex with the balloons.
They were having balloon sex. Yeah. Yeah, they were having balloon sex with both holes of the 8.
Oh, wow.
Which tells you what kind of monsters these
Animals.
people
More savage than man.
are. Savages. And let me tell you, the visual image of a bunch of Hell's Angels, like really tough people, having sex with balloons, them having... is an image that will not leave. It is one of the best things ever on a night that I felt like I was at the edge of existence.
Wow.
Anyway, abstinence twister.
Abstinence twister. There you go. I twisted up some balloons, and they did practice some form of abstinence.
See, it's easy.
So it turns out there are no situations that balloon animals will not get you out of it. It is, if not a marketable skill, a survival skill.
Let me tell you, you know what? I am not kidding. There is when I got for probably, I'd say 6 months, I was super into balloon animals. Maybe it was like 3 or 4 months.
This was right after 9/11, right?
This is right after 9/11.
Yeah,
we all needed it. Yeah,
bear in mind.
We all needed it. And there was a book I found, because I was like getting all these books on it. There was a book I found with this guy, which I wouldn't recommend this, but this guy did it. He traveled around the world to these remote locations where sometimes no like white person has ever been, no one from civilization's ever contacted them, and he walked in with balloon animals. So he's like, it doesn't matter, middle of Africa, Papua New Guinea, like all these remote areas of jungles.
You can say shitholes if you want to.
Yeah, she walked into these shitholes and made some balloons.
How Trumpian of you.
Oh my God. So
How presidential.
Oh, that's so funny. The idea, like, that somebody would make that book of like shitholes across, like, oh God.
Yeah.
Trump, this is such a unique time.
Yeah.
But this guy, this is amazing because he walked in and he'd wear this elaborate headdress on his head, and then he'd walk in to like and make the chief these balloons, and like they didn't know what to do, but he connected with them on a way that no one could have just walked in if they had come in with religion or just by themselves. They were in danger, but people were like, what's going on here?
Wow.
That reminds me of I interviewed Andrew McCarthy once, the guy from Pretty in Pink, Blame, the kitchen appliance.
Oh my gosh!
And anyways, he has gone on to not only act and direct on it, but his primary career now is he became the head of the National Geographic magazines. Like he became like a world-class travel writer. He was named best in the world by the International Travel Writers.
Wow.
I swear to God, first he won America's best, then he won international. And the thing was, so I was interviewing him about a book. He did a memoir of his travels, and he told me that I said, "Well, how do you what was the key to being safe everywhere?" And so he told me that he went into like the heart of Africa, like Trump's whole territory, and he said one time he walked down an alley and he was the only white guy in sight for ages, and all these African guys are there and they're all looking at him like, what's this guy doing here? And so everybody's coming towards him and he's thinking, no, and it looked like they had really bad intent, and then one of them recognizes Bernie's. And so he said that was his passport around the world. Was everybody knows Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's such a highbrow comedy that translated everywhere.
That would translate everywhere.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah. But
that's how Molly Ringwald got to be ambassador to the Sudan.
There you go.
Wow. Well, thinking of sweet Molly Ringwald, I gotta say that my thoughts are adrift now. So we pretty much have to wrap it up because I know you're off to yet another probably international locale to play set list. But what else you got going on coming up?
Well, we're doing set list of Sketchfest this weekend, January 19th, Friday, January 19th at Cobb's Comedy Club. And the next time I come in, here's the teaser. We'll talk about when after our first year in Edinburgh, I carried all this gear, for a set list to run the show, 100 pounds of gear every night across these cobblestones for a couple miles, and injured my back. And then when I came back, I had to sleep and live on a giant yoga ball for over 3 months because of the injury. I couldn't stand, sit, lay down, or do any other position than be over a ball.
Wow, sounds like David Blaine.
Yeah, it was like David Blaine.
Only hopefully you didn't have to hold your piss or be watched under surveillance 24 hours. But.
No, yeah, I could get up to go to the bathroom in excruciating pain, but I was the boy on the plastic bubble.
Wow. All right. Well, folks, where can people find out where to play Setlist or watch it? Or...
They can go to setlistshow.com and they can follow me and my photography work on Instagram. That's really the only main social media I use, which is Troy Conrads with an S at the end of my name.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, man. Next week, we're going to